This is the Smart Cocktail Shaker project, and what this is a project to help you mix a drink using an Arduino and an Android application. And what you're looking at is a small kitchen scale, and this is just a cheap one that I got from Harbor Freight Tools. It was about $12 or so. And I've pulled the load cell out of the scale, and the load cell is actually the part of the scale that measures the weight of whatever is on top of the scale. And by reading the signals from the load cell, I can actually use that to send the weight to an Android application and help me mix a drink. And what else you see here is an Arduino on the right. That's an Arduino Nano. And there's also an instrument amplifier in the middle. That's Texas Instruments INA125 instrument amplifier. What that does is just amplify the signal from the load cell so that it's easy for the Arduino to read it. And then on the left is an Adafruit Bluefruit Easy Link. And that's just a Bluetooth serial communication device that lets the tablet communicate wirelessly with the hardware here. And so by using the scale, I can actually measure the weight of whatever is on top of the scale. So for example, if I have a shaker full of a drink, I can see exactly what the weight of that drink is. And because I know the density of liquid, I can actually understand exactly how much volume is inside of that shaker. So it can actually help me mix this drink by telling me exactly how much I've put inside of the shaker. And so what you're looking at here is just an Android application that's running on a Google Nexus 7 tablet, and it's listing all the drinks that it knows how to make. So I'm going to choose to make a martini, and it's just telling me a little bit about the martini, just some information from Wikipedia. So I'll say, okay, I want to prepare that drink. And then I have to choose a device. This is how it's going to communicate with the hardware here. And this is using the Bluefruit Easy Link device, so it's going to use Bluetooth to communicate wirelessly. So I'll select next. And now it's actually listing all the steps to make this drink. So the first step is highlighted at the top, and it says, place a shaker or mixing glass filled with ice on the scale. So I'll do that. I'll fill this shaker with ice. And I'll put this on the scale. And then I want to click next to go on to the next step. So now I need to add 2.5 ounces of gin to the shaker. And so this is the neat thing, because the scale is telling the tablet exactly the weight of the shaker, and because I know the density of gin, I've measured that ahead of time and recorded it in the application, I can actually know, based on the weight of the shaker, or at least the weight that's been added to the shaker, what volume has been added to it. So I can know, as I pour into the shaker some of the gin, you can actually see the application update in real time with the volume that's been added. So I'll pour a little bit of gin inside of it. And you can see there's a little progress bar here that moves and a measurement. So I've added about exactly 1 ounce of gin to the shaker. And I'll keep pouring in. And almost 2.5. There we go, a little bit over. So about 2.5, 2.6 ounces of gin. So now I want to go to the next step. So we'll click next. Oops. There we go. And now it says to add 1/2 ounce of dry vermouth to the shaker. So I'll grab the vermouth. And the exact same thing is going to happen here. So it's going to measure the weight of the shaker, and it's going to see exactly how much has been added to the shaker. And then using the density of vermouth, it's going to figure out exactly what volume of vermouth I've added. So I'll pour a little bit. And you can see I've added about maybe 1/4 ounce. So I'll add a little more. Oops. There we go. Just about a little bit over 1/2 ounce of vermouth. And so now I want to go on to the next step. So stir the contents of the shaker for 30 seconds. So I'll do that real quickly. All right, I won't go the full 30 seconds, and we'll click next. And then strain the contents into a cocktail glass. So I'll grab a cocktail glass from here. And we pour the drink into there. And then the last step garnish with an olive or a lemon twist. So we'll drop an olive in there. And that's a martini. So the Smart Shaker project, it walked me through mixing this drink by using a kitchen scale, the load cell from that, attached to an Arduino that's communicating wirelessly over Bluetooth to an Android application. And by using the weight that it measures from the load cell and the density of the liquid, I can actually have the application tell me exactly how much I've added to the shaker and make the drink very easily. I'll show making another drink with the Smart Cocktail Shaker. So this time I have the tablet hooked up to the Arduino through a USB connection. And so you can see right here, this is a USB on the go or OTG cable. And that just lets me connect to the Arduino as if it was any other serial device and communicate through a wired connection. The nice thing is that this actually applies power to the Arduino, so it's a little more convenient in some cases. And I've got the same application just running in landscape mode now. And this time let's make the White Russian. And so this tells me a little bit about the drink. And we'll click Prepare Drink. And now you can actually see this is the list of devices, and this is the USB device. So I'll select that one. And now it's telling me the exact same thing as before, all the different steps that I need to follow. So I want to place an old-fashioned glass filled with ice on the scale. So I'll put some ice inside of here. And I'll place that on the scale. And then I'll click the next button. Now I want to add 1.5 ounces of vodka. So I'll add some vodka here. And you can see again, it's just updating in real time as I pour into the drink, so a little bit more. Oh, looks like a little bit extra. And now I want to click next. Oops. If your finger's wet, unfortunately it doesn't work too well. Dry my finger off. There we go. And now I want to add 3/4 of an ounce of Kahlua. So I'll grab that. And this is a coffee flavored liqueur. And a little bit more. There we go. A little bit extra. And we'll click next. And now I want to add 3/4 of an ounce of cream. And so this is just heavy cream. And I'll pour some of this in. And you can see how easy this makes it. I don't need to measure anything. I just pour until it tells me to stop. There we go. There's about 3/4 of an ounce. And I'll click next. Oops, dry my finger off again. And then I need to stir that. And that's the drink. That's a White Russian, the Big Lebowski's favorite drink. So that's the Smart Cocktail Shaker project. You can see it uses an Arduino and an Android application to help you make a drink.